Hello, everyone, again. Welcome back to our next week's episode of WCAT News. We have a lot in store for you today. We have Ethan, Cameron, Jeremy, and Lauren back at it again this week with some updates with you. We have stay-at-home sports. We got another segment of reviews from The Last Dance. Today was the last two episodes, so if you have not checked that out yet, make sure you do so. Got some crazy weather going on, so I'll have Jeremy fill you guys in with that and our interesting fact of the day with Lauren. I'll go ahead and give it off to Ethan.
What's up, Wildcats, and welcome back to Stuck at Home Sports. I'm Ethan, and today we have two stories, starting off with an update on the American sports reopening. That's right. The NFL, the MLB, and the NBA have begun the process of trying to create plans to reopen. The MLB started off with a meeting with some high representatives on Tuesday, May 13th, where they all came together, the MLB, their high representatives, and the MLBPA, the Players Association, where they were going to discuss when they will reopen, how they will reopen, and what will they restrict. So they have not come out with a plan yet, but look forward to that in the upcoming weeks or so. And in the NFL, they actually created a plan to allow people back inside the facilities. However, this does not include players nor coaches. The plan is to let 50% of the workers get back into their facilities and clean them up and make sure they could get the facilities up and running, but they can have no more than 75 people at a time inside the facilities. And this plan will go up Tuesday, May 17th, so the workers will be able to get the facilities going, and then the NFL will hopefully prove to the rest of the world that they could have their facilities up and running and not have any problems. And then they will slowly start letting players get back into the workout areas, and hopefully we'll be able to see something for the NFL, meaning the players can get back into it so the season can start on time. And then compared to the MLB and the NFL, the NBA has actually started letting players back into the facilities. They have started this whole process earlier compared to the MLB and the NFL, to the point where now players are being slowly allowed into the facilities. 11 out of the teams have now allowed access into the buildings where they can be able to start their workouts, just can practice shooting again and get back into the swing of things in hopes of having playoffs still for the NBA and not having to cancel the season. But this is a big start for all of these leagues, and hopefully we'll be able to have sports sometime in the near future. Now it's time for Last Dance Review. In this week's episodes, number 7 and 8, Michael Jordan finally decided to move on from basketball as he decided to take a break in 1993 to go play baseball. Michael Jordan joined the Birmingham Barons, where in his first 13 at-bats, he actually got a hit. He had a huge streak that left others being completely amazed for a man stepping from basketball to baseball and still being able to have so much success. People were already jumping on the bandwagon saying, when is he going to make it to the MLB? But there were other critics saying he wasn't going to make it. And it made for a very interesting few comments that both of the media and MJ had towards each other. We also got to see how MJ was being displayed as a jerk by the media and what his opinion was on that. MJ would do anything at all costs to win games, even if it's fighting his own teammates. So we got to see the little battle between Steve Kerr and MJ, but we also got to see how the media portrayed him as a bad guy and all their things because he was being too rough to the players. But in the end, MJ and the media both had their opinions, which made these episodes pretty interesting and very meaningful, and most importantly, worth watching. But if you don't believe me, why don't you listen to some of my peers?
What's up, everybody? It's Jacob, known as Jacoby James III. How you doing? Barbecue chicken is what they call me. But I watched The Last Dance, a documentary. It was fantastic. Episode 7 and 8 were by far probably the best for me because it shows like who Michael Jordan, I guess, really is. He's kind of you didn't hear that. He was kind of a mean person, especially in practice with his teammates. But I guess to win, you gotta. And then especially when he retired, it showed like Pippen and like how good he was. Even though they didn't make it to the finals and win a championship, he's probably one of the most underrated players of all time because Jordan always Pippen was always in Jordan's shadow, and that kind of showed that just if you gave him a couple of years by himself, he would have won a championship. And especially when he won the first championship without his dad, that was pretty sad. It's pretty sad, but yeah, that was episode 7 and 8 were pretty nice, and I really recommend you guys watching Last Dance. It's a good episode, series, documentary. I'll be chicken out, baby.
Hey guys, Mr. Bosco here. Just kind of weighing in with some of my thoughts on The Last Dance. First off, I think it's absolutely just incredibly well done, put together. Interviews are awesome. The music that they've added in it is awesome, and just reliving kind of the 90s is awesome. So I was born in 91, in the beginning of the decade, so I don't really remember a ton of, especially the first three-peat, and I remember a little bit of that 97-98 season. Just kind of watching those games with my dad and other family members and stuff. So it's just really super cool to relive it. And like, I know you guys are the younger generation, but if anyone after this still thinks LeBron is a better player than Michael Jordan, then you didn't watch the documentary.
Thank you, Jacob. Jacoby James III, Barbecue Chicken Baby, and Mr. Bosco for giving us some very interesting takes, to say the least, for episodes 7 and 8 of The Last Dance. And I hope you guys tune in at 8 and 9 o'clock tonight. The final 2 episodes of The Last Dance will be debuting, so they're the most important episodes to watch, because it's the last championship Michael Jordan's going to win. We'll see how he does that. But thank you all for making it all the way to the end of Stuck at Home Sports. But I will now send it over to Cameron with the farming update.
All right, thank you, Ethan. I'm out here fishing a pond by my house. It's good to get out and do some things. I'm getting some big bites here on my bobber, but it's nice to get out of your house and do some things while you're still following the social distancing, obviously. So get out, try to do some new things, and stay safe out there is the most important thing. But yep, we're out fishing, and I guess I could give you a little farm update. Many of you know my family owns a farm up in Ladysmith, Wisconsin. They used to be a dairy farm. They are a beef operation now. And I get a lot of questions about it, how my family's doing with this whole thing going on. And I was going to talk a little bit about that. So we're actually doing okay. My family farm is a private operation, so we're not really struggling. We don't sell any of our meat to the grocery stores. We sell it to friends and family and whoever wants to buy it. So the COVID-19 situation is not affecting us. It's a really small operation, not much money to be made, but we're doing all right, and we're not really getting affected by the virus. But if we were still dairy, if we were still a dairy farm, that would be a completely different story, because dairy is getting hit really hard. And if you're not selling your products privately, like if you're not, selling, like if you don't have like a private creamery or selling your raw milk or whatever, you're probably struggling. Especially if you're like selling your milk to go to like cheese plants and stuff like that. So yeah, luckily, we want to get back to milking, hopefully soon, the next couple years here. That's the plan. But we're doing okay as of right now, and trying to expand the operation. Very small. And yeah, that's all I have. Let's see if I could catch a fish here. Changed up my bait choice. Yeah, the pond's kind of high right now, but I did catch a couple the other day. So, but that's all I got with the farming update. Yeah, just a quick thing about my family's farm, because I know a lot of you have been asking about that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Not affected really at all. Private operation, small private, so we're doing fine. And now we're going to pass it over to Jeremy for the weather.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Cohen, and it's weather time.
It's weather time with Jeremy and Cohen. Thank you, Cameron. You're the best. And thank you for joining Weather Time. My name is Jeremy Cohen, and let's shine into the weather for the week of Sunday, May 17th. Now, we have an hourly weather report for today, Sunday, May 17th. It'll be sunny, storming, raining, 50 and 60s. Not too bad, but you might want to stay inside for today, which you should be doing anyways. And now for the rest of the week is going to be sunny, some days rainy. There might be some thunderstorms, and it's going to be like somewhat in the 40s, hopefully not too much. We should be mostly seeing 50s, 60s, and upper 70s, which will be very nice. Hopefully the rain will stop, and we could get some good dog walking weather outside. And yeah, that's all for the week of May 17th, 2020. My name is Jeremy. Thank you for joining Weather Time, and here is Lauren with This Day in History.
Welcome to Today in History with WCAT. Today we're talking about the Brown vs. Board of Education. In 1954, Brown vs. Board of Education was determined. This is a familiar court case that opened the doors for ending segregation. Brown vs. the Board of Education is actually the name given to 5 Supreme Court cases of segregation in school. The cases are Brown vs. Board of Education of Topeka, Briggs vs. Elliott, Davis vs. Board of Education of Prince Edward County, Virginia, Bowling vs. Sharp, and Gebhardt vs. Ethel. Segregation in schools actually started with the Jim Crow laws, but they heightened when Plessy vs. Ferguson was decided in 1896. In Plessy vs. Ferguson, the Supreme Court ultimately decided that segregation could be used in public facilities as long as the facilities were separate but equal. As we've come to know today, the facilities were never equal. Linda Brown, a young African-American girl, was denied elementary school education in Topeka, Kansas' local white school. The white school she attended was closer to her home and had a better education system than the other schools. The National Association for Advancement of Colored People, or the NAACP, supported Brown's fight for education. Thurgood Marshall, a lawyer who would later become a Supreme Court justice, fought for her case in the Supreme Court. On May 17, 1954, the justices unanimously decided that separate but equal was unconstitutional due to the facilities not actually being equal. A year later, the Supreme Court issued guidelines that demanded public schools to integrate immediately. Here are my sources.